Welcome in, everybody. We are back. Episode number 4, Draft to Glory. I am Laptop Hound on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, and anywhere there's a Laptop Hound. That's where you can find me. We are in the year 1903 in this Draft to Glory series where we try to take Montreal Expos to the championship, to glory, but only through the draft. We can only build through players that we take every year in the draft. We cannot sign free agents. We cannot trade for players. It is draft to glory, as the title says. So let's get rolling here. Again, if you wouldn't mind, leave a like or subscribe, share this out. Trying to gauge how many viewers I have on YouTube. Again, I'm doing most of my content over at Twitch, twitch.tv/laptophound. Lots of cool people over there on the live streams. But if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe leave a comment, leave a like, just so I know what the audience is over here. Because if there's not a big audience on YouTube, I may just not do YouTube content. I may just transfer over my Twitch content. So hopefully there's some YouTube viewers that are getting some joy out of these episodes, because I really do enjoy making YouTube content. All right, let's go. We are in 1903. Let's check out the top prospects, top 10. Number one pick in our draft last episode. If you saw that, Roy Halladay. Because again, I'm using historical players from all different eras of history. So it could be Roy Halladay or it could be Babe Ruth that's brought into the draft. So Roy Halladay, we had the 4th overall pick, and we were lucky enough to get this gem as number 4. We got Tim Hudson for Brooklyn, rated number 3. Arlie Latham, and then Dan Brothers are the top 4 picks. Taking a look at our lineup before we get to simming the season, this is what our pitching rotation looks like, going with the 2-man rotation in 1903. These guys can pitch every second game. And you'll notice with the draft year, these are the players that we picked in the drafts. Anything that shows a 0 is a player from the inaugural draft, where we took kind of one of the worst players possible. We wanted to start off with a bad team. And yes, the last 2 seasons have shown that. So really, we've only drafted 3 players: Ben Ford, Scott Blewett, what a great pitcher name, and Mike Kinnunen. Hitter-wise, we got a few more that we've picked through the drafts. Joe Sewell, Pat Mullen, Bob Hale, Art Shires, and Bo Jackson. Yeah, you heard it right. Bo Jackson. He's playing 1903 with the Montreal Expos. When we look at our development system, again, we don't have minor leagues full because we simply haven't played enough years. We haven't had enough drafts yet. But you can see I'm choosing to start Roy Halladay in AA, at least for a couple months. I don't want the 19-year-old to be overwhelmed. The game says he's ready for a promotion, but I'm going to let him play a couple months in AA, see what his record's like, to see if we should promote him to AAA. Other than that, we're kind of going with, not the best at Major League yet, because the young guys in the draft, I don't want to ruin them. So Badu, we're starting in AAA. I believe Bo Jackson might be in AAA, or did we boost him all the way up? Let's go look at potential. Yeah, I think Bo Jackson might be currently on the major team. Yeah, we're going to start him because he's 2.5 stars. He is 22-year-old, so he's one of the older prospects. So I think he's ready for the show. But again, we do have some of the prospects in the minor leagues. We'll keep an eye on them. No one that is in a league too tough for them. We don't see the red down arrow. And only Roy is wanting to move up. But like I said, he's going to be a future star. I want to make sure I don't rush his development. All right, let's go to the first game. Again, I'm not going to get into the game by game action for this team yet. We're simply not good enough. So we're going to go and play the first game, sim through it, take a look at the box score, and see how Montreal is ready, or are they ready? Are they ready to rock and roll? We got Bo Jackson, Joe Sewell, Pat Mullen. Really excited to see the players that we actually drafted and how they do. Again, we're just going to go through the entire game. We'll sim all of it through and take a look at the box score. If we give up less than, well, look at this. Look at this. This may be a highlight of our career franchise so far. Opening game, and we didn't get blown out. In fact, we ended up winning in 12 innings. We only got 5 hits, but we got 3 runs. Amazing. Fantastic. What a start for Ted the Senator Kennedy. That's not his nickname. It should be. Ted Kennedy still developing as a 22-year-old. Pitched pitched a lot last year for us. He had 64 games in the majors. Pitched in 69, I guess, starts. So yeah, he is gonna hopefully develop completely. He's only got a little more to go, one more pitch to develop and some movement. But he pitched a gem. Yeah, he pitched 10 innings. And let's see who else did well. So 2 5-star plays. It's time to retire. That's it. We've reached our glory. 2 5-star plays with this team. Let's go back and take a look at that box score. So Ted didn't get the win, pitching 10 innings. It's going to go to Wieland, who pitched a couple innings, gave up 2 hits, didn't give up a run. And in fact, Ted did not give up an earned run. So fantastic. Who else? 1 hit for Walsh, 1 for Strong, 1 for Stewart. And when we look at the players that we drafted, Bo went 0 for 5. Art Shire's 1 for 5, 1 for 4 for Bob Hale, Pat Mullen, and Joe Sewell 0 for 5. 0 for 5. Again, great shape on this player. Looks like he's going to do really well in this time period. He was the MVP last year. I believe he was MVP. Let me just double check that. Yeah, he was second in the MVP voting. He was the MVP in my books. For our team, he definitely was the MVP. Okay, let's sim ahead to the next month and see what kind of shape we're in. I don't want to get too excited because we are still a building team, maybe 3 or 4 pieces that are in the lineup now, but many more to come, hopefully, as long as we continue to draft well. So in terms of our player update, Ted Kennedy again just continues to impress, up to a 3-star player. We drafted him in the inaugural draft in round 15. So proving to be a really good pick in that inaugural draft, which again, we went with the lowest player. So you'll notice that he started, went to a 2.5 to a 3, and now up to a 3.5. He likes it in Montreal. Pat Mullen improving in some of his ratings, but dropping in many. So here's a player that was a 5-star player. Now he's dropped down to a 3-star player. Again, he was our first pick in round 2 of the, I believe, inaugural draft, or was he kind of on our main team? Let me go back to the lineup. Yeah, no, we drafted him in the first Series draft. So he is someone that is a little bit disappointing that he's gone down. Let's see who else. Joe Sewell. Come on, Joe. I hope you haven't dropped too much. Where are you? Improved in his defense, which is good. Dropped in his eye. So the eye has gone down. Used to be in that blue. Maybe rushed him a little bit because we did put him into the lineup in his first season. Might have to consider, making sure we don't ruin these players. Roy Halladay, 3-3 start, 2.59 ERA. Not disappointed in that, but do we need to drop him down to A ball or rookie ball? Potential rating drops, overall rating improved, though. So I'm thinking this is a guy we want to treat with kid gloves. Notice he doesn't want to move up a level now. I'm going to move him down to rookie. I didn't like that drop in his potential. So let's keep Roy Halladay in rookie. The stars we got to be careful with because OOTP can ruin a player really quickly. So Roy, you're going down to rookie. All right, in terms of where we are in the standings, we are 8-5. We had a really good first month, second in home runs in the league with 2. And Ted Kennedy is leading the league in strikeouts. So he's been a player that has kind of come out of nowhere, drafted him really low. Let's see if they show us the inaugural draft. Sometimes they keep it on here, sometimes they don't. Might be under logs. No, it just has the last log history. Or is it under here? No. All right. Well, let's head to the next month, check on Roy and check on our player development. Here we go with our May development report. Again, we are on June 1st, 1903. We'll check the standings and individual players a little bit later. Just kind of looking at the development. Kyle Weiland has moved up to a 3-star potential. Bob Hale moved down. And again, Bob Hale is a 21-year-old first baseman hitting well this year, 305. Bo Jackson, look at this. Look at Bo. Gone up in potential contact to a 50, his power rating to a 70, his eye to a 55, and his overall potential ratings improved from 0.5 to 4.0. Bo knows baseball. So here's a pleasant surprise. Bo Jackson, who we selected in the 6th round, looks like he's going to be a starter for our team at least for a few years. 338 average, no stolen bases, but let's face it, in Deadball Era, there weren't a ton. Gil Torres improved a little bit, and Billy Bean, kind of our meme pick. He was, I believe, our 10th round pick. Yes, 10th round pick a couple seasons ago. Billy Bean hitting 396 in Double-A ball. Gotta like it. The Moneyball guy, if you're not familiar, Billy Bean was kind of the key player in the Deadball, not the Deadball, the Moneyball. And if you've seen the movie Moneyball, yeah, Billy Bean would be part of that. All right, I guess we need to look at our players here. 6-10 for Ted Kennedy. Lefty Fritz Peterson is 7-10. I'm more concerned about how is Roy doing. Let's take a look at our minor system here. Roy in minor ball. Again, let's see if he's dropped anything in his development. He hasn't changed at all. I'm going to keep him one more month. I know he does want to be promoted, but he's only again just turned 20 years old. Don't want to ruin him. Standing wise, Montreal currently is 17-23. We're on the pace for our best season. I'll take it. I was hoping to finish at least 400 this year, and we are above that. Let's move on to July. Here we are, July 1st. July 1st, and the Montreal Expos are in last place in the NL. Dipped below 400. That's kind of where I hope we finish. Don't want to finish too high because we still want a pretty good draft pick, but we want to show, some decent signs of improvement. In terms of our pitchers, did it show? I don't even think it gave a development report this month. Do we have one for July? No, we don't. So no changes or no development changes that they want to show us. Let's go and take a look at our hitters in terms of stats. I want to go and look at the overall stats. Again, we're kind of mainly focused on the 5 players that we drafted in the 2 serious drafts so far. As the series goes on, when you see a draft year, those players were intentionally chosen. We looked for the best player in these drafts. Again, the zeros indicate we just kind of took a player, usually one of the worst players. So 286 for Joe Sewell, 263 for Pat Mullen, 339 Bob Hale, 299 for Shires, and Bo Jackson still having a great season. War wise, Bo's at 3.1, Joe Sewell at 3.2. So we've made a couple really good choices. I'm not so sure about Art Shires. He's a negative 1.9 war. I did move him over to second base because I wanted both Shires and Hale to play, and both of them, their primary position is first base. So I didn't want them splitting time. I wanted them maxed out in their bats to develop. Obviously, it's showing in terms of defense for Art Shires as he is at a negative 39 point. Oh, I'm sorry, Art. I am so sorry. You are not Art the Great at second base, but we're getting you some at bats. That's the key thing. You're gonna have to be careful in drafts not to take any other first baseman unless it's a bona fide star. Well, let's sim ahead to the next month. Here we are, August 1st now, and a few email messages to look at. Prospect list. Roy Halladay has dropped to number 7. I don't like that. I was hoping he might stay or move up. We did have a player of the week, though, for Akil Badu. So, best player, again, he's playing in Triple A right now and hitting 337. So I think he will progress nicely. 12 home runs, 56 RBIs in 79 games, including a 6 game hit streak. So, yes, I like that development. Other players, in terms of their development, just looking at some of the key players, Ted Kennedy has now gone up to a 4-star rating potential. At least that's what it shows. Potential improves to 4 stars. So on this screen here, it doesn't show 4 stars, but we look at the history. He likes this team. He's gone from a lower pick, picked him in the 15th round as a non-good player, and he's moved up and had some really good pitching performances, as we can see in his history. I think we might be able to look at player development here somewhere. Scouting. So there we go. If we just focus on his development, stuff has gone up, stayed the same there. Interesting. All right. So that is Ted Kennedy. Let's take a look at some of the other players. Art Shires, who we moved to second base. Once again, apologies, Art, but hey, you're hitting 292. You're contributing with the bat. All right. Let's look at the overall standings. 362. Yeah, we're dropping far below the 400 I was hoping for. And let's take a look at the overall leaderboard in the combined standings. So overall in the entire league, Bo Jackson is number 3. Bo, lighten it up. Remember, this is a player we picked in round 6. So much higher than I expected out of Bo Jackson. I knew he'd be good because he did have, some ability in real life. We look at his real life stats. Bo Jackson, had a 272 season, 256, some stolen bases, popped out some balls out of the park, 32 home runs back in 1989. So I was confident he would help out, just didn't expect this type of performance. So hopefully he'll keep it up. Art Shires, 4th in runs, and Joe Sewell, 2nd in WAR. Bo Jackson is 3rd in WAR in the entire league. So it's not a lost cause. The players we drafted in the 2 rounds, we're getting some key contributions from Joe Sewell, Bo Jackson, and Art Shires. Bob Hale, doing pretty well, 320 average. And Pat Mullen, probably the biggest disappointment, but he still has room to grow. Look at his history here. He was a second round pick in our first serious draft. All right, time to sim ahead to the end of the month. Go Expos. Our September 1st update, and looking at the update, I'm pleased. I'm really pleased. Pat Mullen has improved with his left field defense. His contact has dropped a little bit, but he's improving with his glove. Good to see. And again, a lot of these players are not going to be here long term, but I want to give the shot to the players that we drafted. So again, that's why these 5 players that we've drafted, I want them in the lineup. Get them the at bats. They deserve to be there. They were part of our serious drafts. And with pitching, 3 pitchers: Mike Kuhneman, Scott Blewett, and Ben Ford. Scott, how are you doing? Kind of what I expected out of this profile. So Scott Blewett, again, the best name for a reliever. Gotta love that name. So we picked him in the sixth round of our first serious draft. So our 6th-round picks in one draft was Scott Blewett, and in the second draft was Bo Jackson. All right, let's go back to the news. All right, Roy Halladay, that's the one I was concerned about. Stuff has improved. His movement has improved. Potential movement has dropped, and his overall rating has dropped. So, oh, Roy Halladay may be a bust. Again, the name doesn't prove everything. I mean, his record, he's 20-1. So maybe, it's time to boost him up to AA. Let's see if he wants to go up any higher. No, the game says let's keep him in AA. 20-1 record. So he's pitching really well, but maybe it's just the competition that's having his ratings drop. Because I don't like this. He's winning a lot of awards, pitching really well, pitched a 2-hit shutout, lots of strikeouts. Yeah, he's racking up the strikeouts. Let's take a look at his pitching stats. 164 strikeouts in rookie. Hopefully I didn't keep him down there too long. So let's give him another shot in AA. He's just ripping it up in the rookie league. And I didn't create a single A. So I don't have that transition between rookie and AA. I wanted to, cut out some of the minor leagues. So we're only going with AAA, AA, and rookie. All right, let's put him there. Make sure that the game has him in the right position. And let's sim ahead. Well, first of all, before we do that, let's take a look at some of the streaks this season. See if our players are involved in any streaks. Look at that. Art Shires. Art, that minus 59.3 zone rating isn't going to get you any gold gloves, that's for sure. Oh, I don't know if I've seen anything worse than that. There's the meme for this episode, Art Shire zone rating. But he is on he was on a fantastic 22 game hitting streak. So I will take the trade off because again, we don't care about winning right now. So if his defense is costing us wins, I'm okay with that. Bo Jackson, 28 game on base streak. Art Shires, 27 game on base streak. Any other streaks with our players? That is it. So, yeah, cool to see some of our players on this list here. Let's jump ahead to the end of September. It is playoff time for 2 teams that are not the Montreal Expos. But we did get a shutdown streak, 10-game shutdown streak by Kyle Wayland, again, one of our better relievers. Not that we have many. Here is the leaderboard that you see here, combined leaderboard. Because we're going with a two-man rotation, it makes sense that we have the strikeout leaders, Bob Hale, third in batting average. Bob Hale, this was the guy that we kept on first base, and then we moved Art Shires to second base, just so that they could have the playing time. So let's see what your first base, you are a positive zone rating. I think I made the right decision, keeping the right guy at first base. So there is the leaderboard there. And in terms of where we finished, dead last, as expected. 350 winning percentage. We will have one of the top 4 picks in the draft lottery. We've picked second. We've picked fourth. Hopefully we can get the number 1 pick. Don't know the players that are available yet. That comes out a little bit later. But let's go ahead and sim the playoffs. And who can we congratulate? The Browns or the New York Giants? And I guess it's a best of 9. I did not realize that it's best of 9. Maybe it was a AI change. Maybe it was what was done in real life, but it is a best of 9 and it goes to Boston. And look at that, guys. Do you remember in episode 1 what my score was? It was 1. In episode 2, I think it was in the 70s. As a coach and manager, I've moved up from really terrible to a poor score. Woohoo! Laptop Hound has a very poor score, 179. But it's the best so far. So congratulations to Boston. Let's take a look at their team. Boston, different Boston. That was the last game of the regular season. The game continues to do this, where at the end of the season, because I changed the Boston Bean Eaters to Montreal, once the season is over, they go back and put it back as Boston. So I will change that in the edit and put it back to Montreal. In fact, I'll show you how to do that. If that's happening to you in your league, go to League and Teams, and down here, this is where it should say Montreal. I can't figure out how to keep it as Montreal season after season. If you know how, put it in the comments. But I think maybe because you have to do it when you're setting the game up, once you play to kind of the first day, then I think it's going to go back and forth all the time. So there we go. We got Montreal. So when we go back to our main screen here, it should show us as Montreal. Let me double check it. Yes, of course, I'd have to go and change the logo, which is really easy to do. All you have to do is go up to the top here, Bean Eaters, modify colors and uniform, and auto load. There. So again, we may have to do that every season, unfortunately, but hopefully from now on, I can keep it out of the stream. I can edit that out. Let's see, there we go. Montreal Expos with the logo. So playoff champions were the New York Giants, winning in a 5-3 series. New York, Fernando Vina, Russ Schneider, Lenny Dykstra, Lonnie Chisenhill, Garrett Atkins, TJ Fredo, Billy Klingman, and Bill Drescher. Pitchers, Jack Manning, Kerry Wood, Bill Hogg, Doc Scanlon, and in the bullpen, Jack Cronin, Buzz Capra, Harry Wilhelm, Keith Atherton, and Melly Wolfgang. And I think if I go to league history and go to the history index, we can see all 3 champions, which coincidentally have all been from our conference, the National League. So we've got the Cardinals, we've got the Pirates, and now we have the Giants. All right, let's sim ahead and check out if we have any award winners. Maybe we'll have a pitcher winning. Again, came very close with a hitter last year. We did have a pitcher, I believe, last season. Let's check it out here. Yeah, Joe Sewell was the rookie of the year last year. Kyle Wayland was the reliever of the year. This year, they didn't want to give a reliever of the year. I guess no one met the criteria, but look at this. For the second year in a row, we have a rookie of the year. Bo Jackson gets the little orange tag for NL Rookie of the Year. Jack Manning from the New York Giants is the Cy Young winner, and Pete Browning for the third year in a row. He is the Barry Bonds. He is the Babe Ruth. He is the Mike Trout of this sim so far. 5th pick overall in the inaugural draft, Pete Browning, your Cy Young winner. Let's take a look at the AL winners. Curry Foley, his second MVP. John Healy is your Cy Young winner. And Will Clark, real life New York Giant, or San Francisco Giant. He takes home the rookie of the year? Rookie of the year. Drafted 9th overall in the 1902 draft. So this is the draft we took Joe Sewell. I guess Will Clark probably played in the minors. Yeah, he played in the minors last year. So his first year in the majors, getting Rookie of the Year. Congratulations, Joe Clark. All right, it is time. Let's go ahead to the draft and find out who is on the board for us to draft this year. Looking, of course, for another starting pitcher, looking for, that dead ball type of hitter, because dead ball pretty much lasts until about 1918, 1919. We've got another 14, 15 years, 16 years before we get there. All right, let's go to the player draft. I love this part of the stream. Let's take a look at the mock draft. Who does OOTP have going early? Well, looks like, did we win the draft lottery? Let's go through the news here. Draft lottery announced we get second pick, just like we had 2 seasons ago. The Reds move up. Brooklyn stays and Chicago stays, so we swap with Cincinnati. I'll take it. The number 2 pick overall. Projected to go number 1, Mike Griffin. Cal Daniels, number 2, Rafael Devers. And Boog Powell round up the top 4. No one eligible for the Hall of Fame because, again, we're early into the sim. Okay, let's go check out that mock draft again. Mike Griffin expected to go to Cincinnati. And then after that, so many choices. Jose Guzman's there. Ian Happ. Boog Powell. Brandon Lowe is in the game. Eric Sogard. Some names that, depending on your age, the older you are, the more you may remember some of these. Adam LaRoche. Not really seeing a lot of, names that stood out in Major League Baseball. Tom Butters. Lo and behold, we've got a Tom Butters. And in the 5th round, the mock draft always goes and shows you the top 5 rounds. We have 10 rounds in our draft. Sheriff Blake. All right, so as expected, a lot of familiar names in that first round. Just a matter of, do we want to go with a pitcher or a hitter? I guess we'll take a look. Who goes number 1? Is it going to be the projected player that was Mike Griffin? Will he go number 1 or will he fall to us? He does. And when we look at the profile, very good profile for dead ball. You don't want a lot of home run power, a lot of speed. He's not the best defensive. It might cost them a little bit, but Yeah, I can see why he went number one. All right, let's see who the Scout recommends. Scout is recommending Cal Daniels. So let's take a look. Yeah, Cal Daniels looks pretty good. Looks really good. What was he in real life? He hit for high average early in his career. Had a bad season in 1989. Didn't play many games though, so either was demoted or had some sort of injury. And then retired. He finished in 1992. We are on the OOTP development engine at a high talent randomness. So we're not necessarily going to get the same output as the real life player. So Cal Daniels, let's take a look at the potential. Cal Daniels, we want to add you again. Let's go and create a new short list. We want to create one for every year, 1903. Okay. Now, maybe if you don't know how to do some of these things, you're picking up a few pointers, but let's add, of course, everyone that's 3.5 and higher. Okay, we'll add those, and we'll do the same with our starters. Starters run out real quick in these drafts. They are usually taken by the AI fairly quickly. So I wouldn't expect many of them to last past the third round. So we might want to consider taking a starter. Let's check out our short list. All right, batters first of all. We looked at Cal Daniels, Phil Plantier. Not really a fan. Don't like that low avoid K. Gordy, a solid overall kind of player, but first base, we already have a couple first base, including one that I've been forced to play at second base. So Gordy, we're going to remove you from the short list simply because you're not a need. Rafael Devers, almost completely developed, third baseman. And again, when we go back and we look at our roster, we've got a first baseman, a second baseman, left fielder, shortstop, right fielder. So if at all possible, we want to avoid doubling up because there is no DH. So unless it's a really young player that we can season in the minors for a year or two, we want to avoid. But we do need a third baseman. George Altman, play many positions, utility guy. Big George, they call him. He's Big George. And Boog Powell, which, he's got a lot of growing to do. The one thing I don't like about Boog, though, is he's big on home run, and we don't get a lot of home runs in this era. Let's take a look at, 12 total for Corey Dickerson. So Corey Dickerson, who, has a fairly high home run rating, hit only 12. We've got Irish Musial, high home run rating, he hit 10. And Dale Murphy, look at that home run. Here's kind of the Boog Powell composition, right? This was similar to Boog Powell and only 10 home runs. So when we look at Dale Murphy, 281 average. So his batting was great for that profile. But do we want to waste a pick on Boog, who's very similar to Dale Murphy? So maybe we're going to get a 280 average, 10 home runs once he develops. If this was the 1950s or 60s, I'd be a little bit more accepting, willing to draft him. 18 years old, so he can play a couple years in the minors. Maybe we want to add potential rating. Again, you can customize your tabs however you want it. Where is it? Potential rating. There's so many that it might take a little while to find it. Overall potential rating. There we go. That's better. I like seeing the stars. So I'm leaning batter wise. I think for this draft, I'm leaning towards Cal Daniels. I think he's far and above for this era. Rafael Devers would be choice number 2, but look at Rafael compared to Cal. Similar makeup, but Cal's just better. Right? Here's the potential defense. So we're losing out on defense, but like I said, these are almost carbon copy players. There's Rafael, and there's Cal. Cal's better. But let's take a look at the pitchers. I know Cal will not last in the next round for sure. And again, we want to go and add the potential because I don't really care about overall right now. How good are they projected to be? So Rube Melton is the top pitcher on the board. I don't think he's worth taking over Cal. I just don't. Jose Guzman, same thing. Like, I'd love for these guys to be there in round 2. I think they're great round 2 picks, but not round 1. Okay. It has been decided by you, by me. You're shouting at your screen. Lap. Cal is the obvious choice. Left fielder. New member of the Montreal Expos is Cal Daniels. It's going to have to, take out our other left fielder, currently Pat Mullen. Pat can play center, though, so we got Bo Jackson in right field. We could also even move Bo Jackson, although I don't really want him. There is no DH. I don't want him playing center, so he's either got to play left or right. So Cal Daniels definitely going to be a good player in this league. And I think he's ready to step in right away. He's pretty much fully developed. So I like it. I'm happy with that pick. So our 3 cornerstone players so far, Joe Sewell, Roy Halladay, and Cal Daniels, with Bo Jackson in the mix too. All right, let's go ahead to the next round. So many things to click on here. Continue draft. Round number 2, our scout recommends Joe Moeller, but let's take a look at the short list to see if anyone's still there. 1803, and I want to add again. You can customize it to add the team that they're on. Way I know if they've been drafted already. There we go. So only one player is left on the short list, and that is Phil Plantier. So let's take these 4 off. And pitching wise, same thing. We gotta customize it to show the team, and all of them have been drafted. So we're not getting any of these pitchers here. We're going to remove them all. Take the disappointment away. So Phil Plantier, 3.5 stars. Don't like that avoid K. You're saying lap. What else is available? Batter wise, we got Fred Hartman, third baseman, Terrence Long. But again, we're starting to get log jammed in the outfield. And Brandon Lowe or Brandon Lowe, I know there's different ways of pronouncing that last name. So again, he's kind of familiar. He's a second baseman. In terms of the player makeup, yeah, we got potential here. They're very similar. And, scary similar. Plantier, I think, is the better player, but not by much. And of course, they play different positions. So I'm gonna not argue with this. I'm going to take Bill Plantier, who was the only player left on the draft board in terms of our short list. Bill, welcome to the team. All right, let's go ahead to round 3. Taking a look at pitchers, are there any starters still out there? And the answer is not many. Gene Wright. Don't like that control. He's fully developed, so I don't know if the game engine's going to be that kind to him. Let's take a look if there's any other starters. Brad Halsey, Steve Farr, and Dory Dean. All right, so Gene Wright would be the guy that we could take. We do need some starters. 21 years old, can step in right away. But is it worth giving up a batter? Brett Butler. That's what he looks like. Chet Chadbourne. Like that profile. I'd like more gap power, but I like that it's got the low home runs in this era. Ray Coleman, not a fan. And Ian Happ. Again, one of those Boog Powell, Dale Murphy type of profiles. You know, he's going to help you out as a utility guy, but I don't think he's going to contribute much offensively. So we don't want Mr. Happ. And Adam LaRoche, same thing, but better than Ian Happ, but almost an identical profile. So I think we're down to Butler, Chadbourne, or the pitcher that we looked at, Gene Wright. And you know what? Because I know he's going to be drafted, we've taken a couple hitters. Let's go ahead and take Chad Wright. Why not? We need more pitchers in the system, especially if Roy Halladay starts to tank. Moving ahead to the next round. See, starters go pretty quick. What do we look at? What are we looking at for all pitchers? Sheriff Blake. I kind of know what's left for hitters. I think maybe I'm going to go for one of these relievers. And for this era, I love that profile. Decent control, really good movement. 2 solid pitchers and stuff I'm not too worried about in 1903. So I'm not even going to think about this anymore. George Merritt, you're on the team. Okay. The other 2 high-end relievers are gone. So let's go now and go back to the batters. Let's take a look at kind of the ones based on contact, potential. I'm only concerned about potential right now. I don't care about their overall rate at this moment because, again, we're still building. Power is not a concern. I always like to favor I. But not to that extent. You know, you look at a player and you think he's going to be good, and then you see that contact and avoid K and go, thanks for coming out. K potential, speed, yeah, those contact and gap, kind of what I'm looking for. So Kelvin Chipman, very, very low-end hitter, but at least consistent. Bobby Knopp, great defense at second base. Frank, I think I'm going to go, I think the pick is going to be Bobby Knopp. I think Chipman, utility, speed, or Knopp. I don't like that. I don't want the home run. Let's go with Calvin Chipman. Calvin Chipman, can you be a surprise pick in the 5th round? I hope so. I hope you end up being like Bo Jackson, who we took in round 6. All right. Bobby Knopp is still there. There's not a lot here. Jason Hart. You got to have some contact. I mean, this is potential with that low of contact. Jim. I'm kind of leaning towards Jim right now, or Cal Rayleigh. In Perfect Team, we all know Cal Rayleigh. What's his real life like? Only 2 seasons so far in the major leagues. Not a very good hitter. Again, I don't want that home run. Don't tease me with the home run. All right, I think we're going to take this guy at shortstop and hope that that contact comes up a little bit. Ray Flaskemper. You are now a Montreal Expo. Going on to round 7, the scout is recommending Cal, so we're just going to go with the scout because I was eyeing him up a little bit. So we'll go with that. Round number 8, scout recommends Tyler Kinney, reliever. There's not much left for hitters. There's kind of one more, this Chris Turner guy, and I better take him now because after that, there's not much. At least he's yellow and green in most areas. So Chris Turner, 8th round pick. On to round number 9. 2 more to go. Time to look at the pitchers again. Only one pitcher left. Oh, 18 years old. You know what? For the meme, he's the last guy. He's got a lot of growing to do with the random talent generation. You never know. You just never know what they're going to turn him into. So Joe Neal. And last pick, I always like to go with a fun name because they're all rated the same here for potential. Nip Winters. Don't you dare me, chat. Don't you dare me, viewers. Oh, look at this. I think he's more of a pitcher, though. Not much. But I know him from Perfect Team. In Perfect Team, he's a pretty good player. He's a diamond card in Perfect Team. But that's mainly based on his play in the Negro Leagues. Nip, I don't want to have to take you. Mule, same thing. Looks like they gave him identical. Bullet Joe Rogan. Yeah. So they're bringing in the Negro League players, but they're not giving them, the stats in those leagues. They're giving them really bad stats. Now, will they develop? I don't know. Maybe the game engine will be kind to them. Who else are we going to go with here? Yeah. You know what? I'm going to give some love to Bullet Joe Rogan because in Perfect Team, he is a great player. They haven't given him much here. 22-year-old, just because I want you on the team. Little bit of love to Bullet Joe Rogan. So we're going to finish off the draft, and then we'll take a quick peek at round number 1. Mike Griffin to the Reds, Cal Daniels. The pitcher, Rube Melton, did go 3 to Brooklyn. Devers to the Cubs. Boog Powell. Curious because we did have a chance to take him. Let's see. He might lead the league in home runs one day, but I don't want a home run guy. Jose Guzman, Jim Turner, Matt Young, George Altman, Gordy Coleman, John Wokenfuss, Dupay, Shaw, Kevin Ory, Jerry Morales, Jake Faria, and Richie Sexton. Richie Sexton rounds off round number 1. Another home run guy. And again, those are the 10 rounds that we have in our draft. Again, that's how I set it up, to have 10 rounds every draft. We took Bullet Joe Rogan. Nip Winters did go in the draft. Good to see him go. And Shigeki Takahashi. It seems that I'm guessing players that didn't play a lot of Major League Baseball, maybe started off in an international league or the Negro Leagues, OOTP just brings them in with the same profile. We'll see if those change as time goes on. Well, that means we get to go into 1904 with the New York Giants as our champion, the Montreal Expos with a winning percentage under 400 once again. Is next year the year to get to 500? We will find out next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you can, please leave a comment just so I know what the engagement is like on these videos, whether it's something I want to continue after this series. And yeah, we will see you next episode. Laptop Pound signing off. Draft to glory. Montreal, do we have a little bit of hope? Here's our roster. Guys in the minors, Itchen, Daniels, Plantier, Merritt, and Wright, and Roy, who's now 3 stars. Such a shame what they've done to you, Roy. Such a shame. See you next episode.